went looking through some of my notes for some of the other sentinels that I've run into in the past. I've mentioned Gollum. I've had more than a handful of those, enough that I kind of believe that they serve a dual purpose. So let me explain a little bit about the history. There are Gollum throughout Norse mythology, for instance. Different Celtic regions described Gollum in different ways. Most often, the thing that they had in common was that it was a person who had died but not fully left their body. So not really a sort of zombie, but more like a not an incompletely detached spirit from a body. The ones that I've seen almost look like they were made out of clay. Someone made them for a purpose. I think I read somewhere that Jewish mythology, and I'd have to fact check this, so don't quote me on this. There was something about Jewish mythology or Jewish mysticism, I think, not mythology, where Gollum could be created by living people to perform a task for them. In these situations, the Gollum that I found or that I saw that were bothering clients, which was the reason that they contacted me, were these large hollow beings. They almost look, like I said, they look like clay statues. They don't really have an intelligence. It's almost like it's like a very limited program on a computer where it does a very specific thing, like giving one of those little Raspberry Pi computers a very simple task. You can give them a task and they will complete that task. Most often, what I've noticed, again, not an expert, just telling you what I've seen, they seem to be put in a place to watch a person. We're not talking about like GPS trackers. They're put in an area to either guard the area or to watch a person. There were two that I saw with two clients that I had where the Gollum that were attached to them had been created and programmed, I say that in air quotes, by a living person to spy on them, essentially. It's the way I understand this is going to sound really freaking freaky. Whoever created the Golem to serve the purpose that it did for these two clients was able to look out the eyes of the Golem as it moved around the person. Again, they're very tall. The two that I'm specifically talking about were, I don't know, 8 or 9 feet tall. They walked in very specific patterns. Again, it was weird and kind of slow and lopey. They take very long strides. In both instances, the Golem were able to be removed. My guide explained that because in those situations, they had been created by humans. They weren't entities that were associated with property. These two specifically had been created by people. Because somebody created them, they were using them in a way that wasn't ethical. They were using them to spy on other people. We were then able to remove them because it helped the client maintain their free will, their own personal space. So this wanted entity around them. They are absolutely okay to remove things that are affecting them physically. Both situations, they were completely removed. The client said that they didn't feel the presence anymore. In both situations, I didn't necessarily try to find out who it was that created them because ultimately it didn't matter. Doesn't matter. The point being, we needed to stop the event from happening. We needed to protect the client, teach them how to do this in a way that this couldn't recur. In one of the situations, the client was a woman. She knew exactly who it was that had done this to her. There was only one person in her life that she knew had the ability and the knowledge to do something like that. So something else to remember is that apparently they are only ever as good as their creator. So if their creator isn't powerful enough to maintain them, they can only work to the level that they've been created. So weird stuff.